things are happening on the January 6th front. Christopher Wray was asked big time about January 6th, and also Ray Epps has announced that he will now be charged 3 years later by the Justice Department and blames Tucker Carlson for that. We're going to look through the Ray Epps lawsuit line by line and show you some fascinating things. Did Ray Epps admit to working with the federal government? It seems like he just did. And now the federal government is charging him. This is going to be fascinating. Get ready, baby. Some of the best questions from yesterday were not necessarily about the Biden's criminality. They were, in fact, about January 6th and the FBI's role in January 6th, something that this show has not shied away from. We have been upfront with you as to the information pursuant to January 6th and what's happening there. We always bring you the receipts. Andy Biggs asked a great question about January 6th and caught Christopher Wray saying he didn't know how many federal agents there were at January 6th. What? Hold on. Record scratch. Watch.
And please don't distract here, because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director. At this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents, FBI agents in the crowd or in the Capitol on January 6th.
I say that because I want to be very careful. There have been a number of court filings related to some of these topics, and I want to make sure that I stick within what's in.
I understand that, but I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
So how you could, okay, listen, show me, I don't know who I'm paraphrasing here. Show me your bank statement and I'll show you where your values are. If you're donating to your church, if you're donating to philanthropy, if you're buying toys for your kids, the vast majority of spending in my family has to do with my children. We care about our kids and we care about like providing a good life for them. That is what matters to me. That is my legacy on this earth. So that is if you looked at my bank account, that'd be where you'd see the money going. Okay. So you can really tell someone's priority based on where they're spending resources, where the FBI spent probably not 90 cents out of every dollar over the last 2 years was prosecuting little grannies who were ushered into the Capitol on January 6th. And he was called out to his face about that by Troy Niels, who is a fantastic member of Congress, also from Texas. Here's Troy Niels talking about how the FBI is prosecuting little grannies more than they're prosecuting child predators.
I find that disturbing because last month, Steve Friend, he testified before the Weaponization Committee. Mr. Friend was a domestic terror investigator for you, and he was told by one of his superiors that January 6th was, I quote, a higher priority than pursuing child pornography cases, end quote. And for those of you watching in America, understand today's FBI is more concerned about searching for and arresting Grandma and Grandpa for entering the Capitol building that day than pursuing the sick individuals in our society who prey on our children. And Mr. Ray, your priorities are flawed. But let's rehash what we know so far, all right? It's the largest investigation in FBI history, and you don't mention it in your testimony. Agents have been reassigned from child exploitation cases and so on.
So these are the receipts. This is what the FBI prioritizes. Troy Niels is saying, yo, you are reassigning child exploitation agents to work on January 6th cases. Andy Biggs there of Arizona saying, wait a second, hold up. You don't know how many agents were inside of the U.S. Capitol? Christopher Wray being like, I don't know. Oh, really? Well, first off, I find that very hard to believe. And then secondarily, you've been asked this same question by the great Clay Higgins, one of our favorite members of Congress, Louisiana, friend of the show, who just delivered a barn burner the last time Christopher Wray was dragged up to Congress. Christopher Wray sat and was asked a simple question. How many human informants or FBI agents did you have inside of the Capitol before the doors were opened? Such an important way to frame that question, because if you are to establish a Fedsurrection, you would need to effectively have already pre-planned, dressed as MAGA supporters, individuals inside the Capitol, behind the police, before the doors were open. That would mean that you are already predicting what's about to happen. And you had an entire mechanism set up for people to enter the Capitol and for you to charge them all with trespassing. Now, I have two pieces of video that I'm going to play you here. One, Christopher Wray, and then two, Nancy Pelosi. Because Nancy Pelosi, at the same time that this was happening, said, ooh, trespassing at the Capitol, I've been waiting for this. Because she had a documentary film crew with her the whole time. That's curious that. Why would Nancy Pelosi have a documentary film crew with her, waiting to hit her marks, things like that? Very curious. Christopher Wray can't answer the simple question, how many agents did you have inside the Capitol before the doors were open on January 6th? This gives away the game. Watch.
Does the FBI have confidential human sources? Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when.
Even now, because that's what you told us 2 years ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people no? We did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol.
Gentleman's time has expired.
You should not read anything into my decision not to share information.
Director Ray,
confidential human
gentleman's time has expired.
So that's effective questioning right there. That's effective questioning. No monologuing. Stop it. This is what always gets the super villains, right? At the end of the movie, they monologue, right? The hero's all trapped instead of just like blowing them away. They monologue. No. Don't monologue. Ask questions. Get him to answer. That's so important. Clay Higgins came on our show and said, listen, I've seen the footage. I've seen the dudes. I've seen these guys. They were standing, MAGA supporters were standing there waiting. MAGA supporters, federal agents were standing there pre-dressed as MAGA supporters inside the U.S. Capitol. Clay Higgins, he's on the committees that have access to all of the footage. So where the hell were these guys? Why can't they release the footage? Because it would unveil who was acting as an informant for the FBI. That's what the FBI said. The FBI is stopping the release of this footage, thus proving that these were FBI agents. You want further proof? Here's Nancy Pelosi. As soon as the Capitol was breached, now reminder here, according to the Capitol Police Chief, Stephen Sund, Nancy Pelosi refused to take his call and refused to ask for backup for 80 minutes as the crowd moved closer, edged closer and closer to the Capitol. And then once the crowd breaks into the Capitol, not saying that they should have, hooliganism should always be punished. You hit a cop, I don't care if you're wearing black bloc or MAGA hat, you go to jail. You should go to jail for a long time. Okay, so the hooligans deserve to go to prison. But I'm talking about the people that were ushered in by the cops. I'm talking about the vast majority of people who are just like wandering around. Oh, okay, it's a sightseeing tour. Obey the velvet ropes. Ladies and gentlemen, when those people were welcomed into the Capitol, Nancy Pelosi had this to say. Watch.
Secret Service said they have dissuaded him from coming to Capitol Hill. They told him they don't have the resources to protect him here. So at the moment he is not coming, but that could change.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my mom.
I would pay to see
I've
that.
been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. What did she just say? What did she just say? I've been waiting for this? Trespassing on the Capitol ground? You know, we pulled the records. Over 90% of J6ers are charged with trespassing. That's right, trespassing. Why did Nancy Pelosi wait for that? What was she? Oh, that's during the quote unquote insurrection. Nancy Pelosi goes, I've been waiting for this. Trespassing on the Capitol grounds. And then that's what they go ahead and charge everyone with. Why have you been waiting for it, Nancy? What a curious thing. What a strange world we're living in. Now, Ray Epps, who is suing Fox News for defamation, has in his court filing, which is hundreds of pages long, admitted that he will be charged by the Department of Justice 2.5 years after the January 6th riot. Say what now? According to the Post-Millennial, Ray Epps' lawsuit against Fox News reveals he's being criminally charged by the Department of Justice 2.5 years after the January 6th riot. Interesting. Let's read. Details of Ray Epps' civil complaint against Fox News reveal that he is being criminally charged by the DOJ almost 3 years after the fact. Finally, in May of 2023, the Department of Justice notified Epps that they would seek to charge him criminally for the events of January 6th, 2.5 years later. The relentless attacks of Fox and Mr. Carlson, resulting in political pressure, likely resulted in the criminal charges. The complaint reads. Okay. So talking about what the guy did on camera is a problem? This is called reporting. The complaint continues that blaming Fox News criminal charges, it is difficult to believe that the Department of Justice would have pursued this matter if Fox had not focused its lies on Epps. Okay, so what did they say? Here's the lawsuit on screen. You can see filed in the Superior Court of the state of Delaware. Interesting. This is also where Dominion filed its lawsuit there in the state of Delaware. So what does the complaint say? This is super weird here, man. Julie Kelly, who is really good, I mean, the best reporting on January 6th, pulls out this fascinating quote from the lawsuit. Julie Kelly tweeting, this is interesting. I have to look at all the interviews and monologues, but what is Ray Epps saying here? Here is on I think paragraph 118. Paragraph 118. Fox did not falsely assert that Epps was an informant for federal agency. Instead, Fox falsely asserted that Epps was a federal agent who was encouraging and inciting others in an unlawful activity. So what are they saying here? Are they saying that it's true that Epps was an informant? This is their words. Fox did not falsely assert that Epps was an informant for a federal agency. There are questions to be asked on this, man. Tim Pool saying, are they implying that Fox is correct that Epps was either an informant or a law enforcement officer with a legitimate task? Does this mean their only complaint is the implications of a false flag? That's what Tim's asking. The lawsuit is able to be read. It's available online. Really, really interesting. But also, it's going to be hard here. Ray Epps is now arguing, according to Cernovich, that when he said we'll go inside the Capitol, he claimed that he was just trying to fit in. That he didn't mean it. I didn't mean nothing about it. Just for a reminder, this is Ray Epps in the flesh, ordering people to go inside of the Capitol. Tell you what, we've combed through tens of thousands of hours of J6 footage. I can't find you another person that was ordering people to go into the Capitol. Save one man.
What? We are going to the Capitol, where our problems are. It's that direction. Please spread the word.
All right. Okay, but one more thing.
Yeah, so can we go up there? No?
When we go in,
are we going to get arrested?
leave this here. Yeah, you don't need to get shot.
So what were you doing, man? Let's get these answers. I'm glad this lawsuit's going forward. Let's get the answers. What were you doing? Let's be honest about everything. Why? Why is this the one person who's being protected by all corporate media? Why is every headline about him suing Fox News and not about him being criminally charged? What are the charges going to be? What's going to happen here? I mean, obviously this is all on video. This is all on camera. So don't come after us for noticing. Same thing with the great Troy Niels of Texas, who asked Christopher Wray about Ray Epps.
There he is, breaching the line, going in at the first breach into the Capitol grounds, a restricted area. Mr. Wray, you have arrested hundreds of people related to January 6th. And there have been people arrested for breaching Capitol ground. Epps also testified to the January 6th committee. He was back at his hotel when video evidence showed that he wasn't. He lied. He was on the Capitol grounds just as Brandon Strecka was. Epps even texted his nephew at 2:12 p.m. and said, I quote, I was in the front with a few others. It was on the video. I also orchestrated it. Now look into the camera, sir, when you answer my next question. Are you going to arrest Mr. Epps, yes or no?
I'm not going to engage here in a discussion about individual people who are or are not.
My point is this. You arrested a lot of folks for unlawful activity. You just saw the video. And I will tell you, Mr. Ray, if you don't arrest Mr. Epps, there's a reason behind it. I believe you know what it is. And it appears to me you are protecting this guy. I strongly recommend you get your house back in order. With that, I yield back.
Not a great day. Christopher Wray. Body language experts will tell you that Christopher Wray expected to go up there and to do what he's always done, be a complete greaseball, and just be like, I'm not sure, sources and methods. Christopher Wray was rocked yesterday. He was scared. He was shaking at times. He was snapping at times. His body language was like angry and then perturbed and then upset. Ooh, he was not expecting this. He was expecting the Washington Generals versus the Harlem Globetrotters. Just the way Republicans have always been. Just a knockdown team. Just a joke. A joke. And he didn't get that. He actually got people that swung